When we started our tutorial, I talked about how a web page is made of three main components: HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. But we have been writing a JavaScript in an HTML file. That's not how usually developers write their code. They keep HTML and JavaScript code separately so that the project is more readable and maintainable. Let's go ahead and do that for our project too. For that, I'm going to go to my VS Code and browser to explain what my code is doing. I have a button on click of which I'm calling this function submit, which is printing hello on my demo paragraph here. If I refresh the page and click on submit, it's going to print hello on my page. But instead of writing this JavaScript code in HTML file, I would like to write this code in JavaScript file. Let's go ahead and create a JavaScript file wherever this home.html is located. For that, I'm going to open this Explorer and create a new file that I'm going to name as index.js. You can name your file anything. It should just make sense in the project. It should make sense what that file is doing and the name of the file. Now I'm going to cut this code. I'm going to cut this submit function and paste it in my JavaScript file here. Now we do not have any JavaScript code in our home.html, but we'll have to refer to our JavaScript code, which is there in our index.js file here. For that, I'm going to use the source property of this script tag and press Ctrl space, and then VS Code will give me option to add the JavaScript file that we just added. The reason why it's giving this IntelliSense is because the JavaScript file is located in the same folder as home.html. So I'm going to select that file here and I'm going to save my file, and when I refresh the page and click on submit button, it's going to work like it did before without writing any code in our HTML file here. So that's how you can keep JavaScript and HTML file separately. Now we have been adding these controls just like this in our HTML file. That's not how usually web developers add their controls. They have headers, footers, body tag in which they add the controls in. Let's go ahead and add those tags. For that, I'm going to go to top of my page here and enter an exclamation mark and then press tab. Then VS Code is going to generate an HTML template for me in which I have HTML tag, I have header tag, I have body tag in which I could put my controls in. In header, I have meta tags, which is going to help me with search engine optimization. I have a title here, which is set to document. I can change that to JavaScript course and save the file. And if I refresh the page now, you can see that it changed the title of my Chrome tab here. In our body tag, we are supposed to add all the controls. So I'm going to cut these controls, buttons, and paragraphs and put it in my body tag here. And we are supposed to put our script tag in our HTML tag here. So I'm going to cut this script tag and put it in my HTML tag here. Now we have a proper development setup. We have our HTML and JavaScript file separately. If I refresh the page and click on submit, it's going to work like before. In the next section, I'm going to talk about classes.